Buenos dias, GCTV. Back at it? You already know. Like two tortas rolling in the Cadillac with some bad habits. Bye, up. Bye, up. In a menudo style in direct fashion, we're going to get straight into it. You see the thumbnail. But before we do, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Put your notification bells on all. So that way you're directed in the dope content that I am bringing every single week, every single day, all year round, right? We're definitely going to get into it. Breaking news, or not necessarily breaking, but it broke bad, right? Derek Chauvin. Now, if you don't know who he is actually the police officer or the ex-police officer that was convicted in the crime of the murder of George Floyd. Now, when that happened, the world went into an uproar. We hadn't seen the likes of something like this done allegedly by a police officer since the Rodney King incident. But this took it a step further because this man actually succumbed to his injuries. Now, of course, this was a long trial. This made national news. Derek Chauvin, did use excessive force, was alleged to use excessive force and was convicted of using excessive force. He was sent to federal prison, and in federal prison, they don't play no games, boy, right? That's straight up. You will get caught slipping. One thing about prison, and I can tell you because I've been there, quite extensively. One thing about prison is there's no hiding from your celebrity. There's no hiding from people knowing what your case is or what you've done. And when you're a notorious inmate, when you're someone who's got there and you were all blasted on the news, people are going to feel some type of way, especially the black community, especially the brothers. When you're convicted of a crime against a different ethnicity, it seems like everybody of that ethnicity just won't like you. Depending upon who you are, depending upon the reasoning behind it. This right here caused a lot of racial tension, man. There was riots in the streets. There was melees. There was a lot of things that happened. It actually changed the fabric and the atmosphere of the world. I remember everything was going off the hook that night that it happened or the day that it happened, man. People went crazy. They went buck wild in the streets. So this one incident sparked a lot of controversy. But it's not just this one incident. It's incidents like this that happen time and time again that really don't get publicized. They don't get put on that front page. They get put on that back burner. So a lot of us don't really become aware of what's really going on. But we know what's up, man. There's a lot of brutality that happens. There's a lot of excessive force issues that happen. And at the end of the day, man, we can't prevent that other than just doing well, doing good, man, and being in the right place at the right time, man, because at any given time, man, if you're just mobbing and just doing your own thing, you can get caught up. Now, this guy, Derek Chauvin, was actually stabbed yesterday in federal prison. Now, what led up to it? One never knows, does one? Like I said, his filth could have been spotted. He could have been spotted. I would think that someone like that, an ex-officer, they would keep segregated. But then again, I've never done federal prison time, so I don't know how it is. I'm sure that there is a camp where there is a lot of ex-officers or a lot of snitches or a lot of people that they have to keep segregated from the general population just based on bad things like this will happen. In any case, he was caught up to and he was stabbed. Now he's in stable condition in a hospital outside of the prison, and he's expected to live and to overcome these wounds. But at the same time, this is chameleon. This is karma. This is what happens when real life starts to affect you. When you affect someone and you feel that power, man, and you feel like you could do what you want to do, there's other people, once they have the power, they will put that to the test. This guy, I would think, that the federal agents or whoever had him incarcerated would have kept him away from the general population. But obviously they were able to get a hold of him. And this happens all the time. People slip. There's rookies that are working and they, open up the wrong doors or they let people in the wrong gate and Sasuke, guard! Why you motherfuckers do that? Menudo, it's over, right? The vato's laid out. It happens just like that. I done state time, never federal time, but from what I've heard from homeboys that have done in federal prison, it's no joke. It's no joke. Depending on which federal prison you go to, the rules are a little bit different. Whereas in the state, it's a little bit more racial. In the state, it's a little bit more politics and regulated according to where you're from and what you do. Whereas in the feds, it's a little different, varying from yard to yard and place to place. But one thing is for sure, they do know who everyone is. See, that's how it is in prison, and people don't seem to understand it. Everybody knows who you are and what you're in for. If you're able to slip through the cracks and slide by, you're a lucky motherfucker, because usually it don't happen. Usually your C file's right there for everyone to see. There's nothing you can hide in prison, especially now with cell phones and people being able to AT&T reach out and touch someone. They're going to definitely find out who you are. Now, when you're someone the character of Derek Chauvin, everybody already knew. Everybody knew what prison this guy was in. Everybody knew what he was convicted of. Everybody knew all the drama behind his case. Now, there was those naysayers and those conspiracy theorists that said this is not the same guy. This guy is wrongfully convicted. It was black and white, Holmes, plain as day, right there on video. He used excessive force. He did what he did. And now someone excessively forced some piece of metal in him. It was bound to happen. A lot of these guys get away with, not getting their punishment or not getting the karma that's coming to them. But it only lasts so long. In prison, any filth or anything that you've done will eventually catch up to you. It might not catch up to you today or tomorrow, but eventually it will. Now, of course, there's going to be some type of investigation into why this was able to have happened. But to tell you the truth, why not? It's prison, man. One thing I've learned about prison is when you go in there, you're on your own. Nobody's going to protect you. You're going to be judged and based upon the content of your character, how you act when you're in there. If you're a respectful person, if you keep it G, man, if you're a real one. If not, you're going to be fucking dusted and disgusted like an E40 song, and that's just the way it is. Now, with this guy, Derek Chauvin, luckily, it was life-threatening, but his life is not threatened. Okay, where's he going to go from here? More than likely, once he's released from the hospital, they will put him in some type of separation tank, man. I think that they would segregate him this time. But usually when something like this happens, it's always on a man, okay? It's never no mechanical error or, oh man, the analytics didn't work that day or the algorithm wasn't waving. This ain't YouTube. I mean, this is real life. Someone had to turn the key to allow him in the area where he got hit. Now, why is this such a big deal? Well, this guy, brought a lot of grief and a lot of anger towards the black community. There's a lot of brothers, man, that if they had 10 seconds in a room with this cat would do bad things to him. And it's not because he's white. And I don't think it's because it's racial. It's because of the fucking, the choices that he made. Now, of course, it looked a little racial, man. And I hate that when a black man dies at the hands of a white cop, or a white man dies at the hands of a black cop. Everyone makes it racial. It necessarily might not have been racial. It could have been just a superiority. What is it? How you say it? Superiority thing, right? He thought he was more superior. When you have power, when you're placed in of status, man, you have power. You could overuse that. You could be drunk with that. And I think that's what happened with Derek Chauvin. I don't know if he was necessarily a racist or that's what he leaned towards. I'm not there, the mosquito on his back, to find out his fucking views on black people. But I do know one thing. He definitely did use excessive force and was convicted of it. And now he got stabbed. Could it have been a setup? Quite possibly. Usually you need to understand this. I've been in a lot of places, a lot of prisons. And usually if there's someone like with a sex offense or pedophile, that's very well known as far as, their case being publicized and being on TV, they tend to have accidents, just like Jeffrey Dahmer tend to have an accident to be put with somebody who beat him on down with the mop bucket, right? It happens. This is what doing crime is all about. This is what can happen. This is karma. You can't escape the realities of realness. When you go to prison and you're convicted, they wash your hands of you. You're no longer protected. Now, in some cases, some of these high profile cases, they will segregate you. I know in California, they have a protective housing unit, a PHU. For people of high notorious cases, they do segregate them, kind of keep them comfortable and protected. But at the end of the day, even some of them guys get caught slipping. It gets ugly on the yards. People they'll get off where they're mad at. If they catch you slipping on the way to the chow hall, if they catch you slipping on the way to medical, even escorted by officers, people will run up on you and put something in you because you become a trophy and a prize. See, that's what a lot of people don't understand. is certain individuals become trophies. It becomes to a point where if you get this guy, you get the accolades and the respect for having got him. That's just how it is. Derek Chauvin, I'm sure, was a trophy. I'm sure he'll continue to be. This was only the first attempt. But if you didn't see this coming, man, then you must have been blind like Ray Charles or Stevie Wonder, because everybody's seen this one coming. It was just a matter of time of when it would happen. Now, of course, he would probably be moved to a more minimum facility where they could protect him and keep their eye on him a little bit more. Or not. No one knows what this guy does. Does this guy have that coming? I don't know. That's up for you to interpret. That's up for you to understand and decide whether it was justified or was not justified. You got to remember, at the end of the day, George Floyd was a man. And he was a man that, although he did have a criminal background, and although he might have been trying to pass some checks or doing whatever the fuck he was doing, he was just a man, okay? He happened to be a black man, and this happened to be a white cop, and that's why it blew up so big, and that's why, it went national, and that's why people went crazy over it. Because people are tired. They put their foot down. They're tired of seeing this brutality. They're tired of seeing the bullshit. I get it. I get it. I myself felt in this situation, another one. That's all I could say on that, right? I don't want to get too extensive into my views, but I said another one, but this guy got convicted, and rightfully so. He deserved it. If you do the crime, you got to do the time. Nobody is subject to not the law. Everybody is subject to the law. I'm sorry, it's the law of the land. You just got to do what you got to do. That's how it is. And this is the type of shit that happens in prison. The cold part is there's people that get slayed or stabbed in prison every single day, and their name never gets spoken about. It never hits the news. It's just another incident that happens, and people push on and move on. Chow time, right? But in this situation, because of who he is, it's getting spoken on a little bit. I strictly see it as karma. Like I said, of course the investigation is going to merit who did this, why they did it. I'm sure they snatched up the individual who did, or individuals, but it was coming. It was coming. Was it a cold setup? Was he put in an area, so that people could get at him? Maybe so. That's usually what happens. I've noticed in a lot of situations. I'm gonna tell you guys a little story. There was this cat. I was in prison, man. He used to run his neck in the hole. Just woofed and woofed and woofed. But he made his fatal mistake. And his fatal mistake was one day he decided he was going to start disrespecting the officers. You can't disrespect officers. That's a rule in prison. Okay? If you're willing to disrespect them, you better be ready to go all the way when that door cracks. You better be ready to get off where you're mad at, because best believe they're going to find a way, somehow, some way, to make you pay for that situation, for disrespecting them. These guys have the power. When you have the key in prison, you have the power, right? You might think that the convicts run the yards, and to a great degree they do run the yards. But at the end of the day, the man with the gun in the tower and the key turner, that's the one who runs the yarda, period. No matter what anyone else says, right? Because ultimately, man, you could be having it your way like a Burger King on the yard, and they could transfer you out overnight and boom. Or do like they do when they come in on fucking, special indictments with masks on and just snatch you up out of your cell at midnight. That's just how they get down. You are ultimately not in control of your life. You might be able to take a piss in that cell, Holmes, but you're lucky they even put you in that cell. They put you where they're gonna put you. They could put you in a fucking box with a bucket, homie, and fuck it. There it is. So, where was I going with that? So this cat, he used to talk shit, right? I hated this motherfucker. If the doors would have cracked, I'd have broke fucking I used to take all the newspapers, soak them in water, get them hella hard, put them in a sheet. I wanted to bink his ass, right? But he started to disrespect the cops. And I remember Y2K. Remember when that shit happened and everybody was going crazy? Oh, the computers are going to crash and it's going to be the end of the world, and nobody knew what was going to happen, right? I remember this guy was screaming at the top of his lungs on the theater. We were in the hole. I was doing a little 6-month shot in the hole, and he was screaming, begging the cops, hey, they're going to get me. They're going to get me. Because this prison, everything was ran on computers. So the doors would shut, on computers. So he thought, just like everyone else thought, that the computers were going to go crazy, reset, and all the doors were going to open. So motherfuckers was prepared. People had pieces ready. Get off on your enemy. Rivals are going to catch it. But we had an understanding between North and South, man, to stand back and stand down. Meaning, hey, Hey, it is what it is. We weren't on site. Put it like that. We came to an understanding. Now, you can't trust everything you hear or everything you see. You just got to get off. But at the same time, there were individuals that used to run their neck and bump baking soda breath all on the door. He was going to get it, homie. I was going to crack a motherfucking Merced Sunstar over his fucking head. That's a fact. Nothing ever happened. I'd say about 2 weeks later, after disrespecting this cop, it was an unusual move, right? They were bringing this guy out for medical and 2 doors cracked. And it happened to be the 2 biggest motherfuckers on the tier, right? 2 big old black dudes, right? What's up, blood? Right? They came out, oh, Paru. They beat the motherfucking brizaches off this guy. His brake pads were done. They beat the wheel drum off of him, right? Smacked him. Smashed his head all into the wall, and that was that. You can't disrespect certain people. People will catch up to you. You can't have a notorious case. People eventually would catch up to you. Is it the karma of prison? Pretty much so. But at the same time, everything that you do in life, man, is dictated by your own program. Derek Chauvin is another victim of prison. He's another victim of finally finding out exactly what prison entails. You go into prison thinking that, oh, everything's going to be comfortable. I got homies here. It's all good. And the next thing you know, you have a piece of metal in your liver. That's how it is. That's part of the game, man. You have to keep your head on swivelization at all times. Do I think that this guy deserved it? I don't think anyone deserves violence. But at the same time, I'm not blind to the fact that I've seen this one coming. Anyways, at the end of the day, Derek Chauvin is going to be released from the hospital. He's in stable condition after being stabbed. And he'll go back to the yard. And more than likely, they'll put him in a protective custody type thing. Now, I don't know how feds work, if they got PC, if they have lightweight yards. I don't know. But I would think, because this is getting national news, and people are going to start going in an uproar. Now you're going to have all the fucking weirdos come out of you need to protect them. Fuck him, man. Hey, you need to protect me, just like anyone else that goes into prison. You got to be a man. Let a man be a man. Who was protecting George Floyd when he was on the ground? No one. Pensa la tira. So it is what it is, man. Derek Chauvin hit in federal prison, man. What you think about it? With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose, get everything that you want coming, and remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the strive to struggle and the struggle to strive. Hey, and again, man, we wish bad upon nobody. But when you do bad things happen to you. It's called karma. That's why you do good, homie, and then you'll get good. That's what I say. Bang, bang. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle and struggle and strive for what I truly and honestly believe in. And that's the betterment of all people and coming together in unity. Derek Chauvin gets whacked, but he lived. Bang, bang.